I'm on the YouTube right now, and I don't see it. Oh, here we go.
And we're back. This is the QB Lab podcast. I'm your host, Jake. My co-host, Zach, right beside me. We got another incredible episode. Before I get into too much here, as always, this show is dedicated to the greatest position in all of professional sports, the quarterback position. And this is a special episode where we are showing our personal fantasy football draft, which is very unique. It's very much in line with this show, which is obsessed with quarterbacks. It's actually a 2 QB league with 12 teams. Before I get further into it, before we discuss more, please smash that subscribe button. We know 99% of you. Now, it might be 98% of you now because we've been seeing some subscribers trickling.
No, 99.
99, fine, 99. The majority of you are not subscribed. Please smash that subscribe button. Zach needs those subscriptions. I need those subscriptions for us to keep this show going, to keep this show pumping. So please subscribe. Now, we got a ton to talk about, okay? We got plenty to talk about today. I already alluded to this, but this is a 12-team fantasy football league with 2 QBs that you need to start every week. AKA, there are teams every year during bye weeks, during injuries, where they are unable to start 2 quarterbacks because, as we know, there are only 32 starting quarterbacks every single week in the NFL, except on bye weeks, there's even less. Point is, this is an insane league, and everything we said in our last episode about ADP is completely out the window. It's not relevant at all.
And Jake, you're the commissioner of this league. Before going into the first topic that I've got for you as commissioner, I just want to, for everybody at home that's not familiar with this league, yes, it's 2 quarterback. It's also 3 wide receiver, but we've gotten rid of defenses and we've gotten rid of kickers. Those are useless, garbage positions for fantasy football, not in real life. Obviously, you need a defense in real life, but for fantasy football, the way the scoring works, the fact that a kicker like Brandon Aubrey can get more points in any given week than a quarterback is complete garbage. It's not representative of the sport whatsoever. It devalues the quarterback position. So what we have done in this fantasy league, and it works way better, we gotten rid of defenses, we gotten rid of kickers, and instead of those slots, the 2 slots instead are an extra quarterback and an extra wide receiver. And Jake, you're the commissioner, which means I've got to bring to your attention some of the chatter that's in the group chat. So this league, just for context, this league is mostly family members. And then we got 4 of Jake's friends who generally are trash at fantasy football. And one of those friends has chimed in from the upper deck saying, can we change the position settings this year to a super flex instead of a second quarterback? That way, if your quarterback is on a bye and you don't have a backup, you can use a position player instead. In a 12-team league, there's only room for 8 backup quarterbacks, so 4 teams get screwed. Jake, as commissioner, what is your ruling?
Wow. Okay, this is the first I'm hearing I wasn't checking it. Bad commissioner for not checking. But the answer is absolutely not. The beauty of it is that if you don't have enough quarterbacks, suck it. You're screwed. That's your problem. The whole point of this league is it's meant to be difficult. It's meant to put a massive priority on the quarterback position. This is why I started this podcast with you, because I am obsessed with the quarterback position, and I think it's by far the most important position on the football field. And fantasy football should be as closely connected to the actual game as possible. And we talked about this. Kickers, defenses, they're all important. But at the end of the day, the most important single position is the quarterback position, which is why We shouldn't have a super flex. You shouldn't have the luxury where if you ended up not taking enough quarterbacks in the draft or you don't pick them up quick enough, you're stuck. That's how it goes. So the answer is no. We are sticking with the 2 quarterbacks, no super flex. There will never be a super flex. Maybe we would add a super flex on top of already just to make things more exciting.
3 quarterback league, Jake.
Well, I would consider down the road trimming our bench to 3 instead of 4, which is already lean, and actually doing a super flex and a flex.
I thought our bench was at 3. Okay, interesting. How many rounds do we have?
So what do we have? I think we have 13 rounds.
13 rounds.
Okay, 13 rounds.
Now, the one thing that I don't like about this draft, Jake, and I will complain as a participant in the league, also, like, I won last year, so I get a bit more cred than some of the other people in this league, in my opinion. A minute for a draft pick, that is an eternity. We are going to be here all night. Now, I'm down to talk football all night, but the fact that people need a full minute to make a decision, we're not doing rocket science here. You have there's 4 different positions. You're either taking your favorite quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight. You're telling me you need 15 seconds per option?
This is the problem when you have a football pool. I should be clear about the name. I don't know if anyone can see it here or not, but it's called the Bloodline, which, AKA, as Zach mentioned, it's a lot of people from family. So it gets tricky because family can sometimes get on our nerves and want us to extend draft pick times, etc., etc. So the reason we've upped it from 45 seconds last year to 1 minute is because some family members were incapable of making quick decisions. And in my opinion, it shouldn't take that long. You got to make your decisions fast. I am of the belief that 30 seconds is actually beyond reasonable for a pick, but I digress. The other piece I want to cover here, and I think you mentioned this already, which is we have no defensive positions. We don't believe in defense here. We believe in the quarterback and everything connected to the quarterback. So we believe in quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and I would argue tight ends belong in a receiver slot at this point. Zach, you and I had this discussion actually when we were going through the draft, etc. We talked about the fact of the meta change in the tight end position, because we talk about the meta change in the quarterback position, and I think it's important to talk about the meta change in the tight end position, particularly because the tight end position actually has a very tight-knit history to the quarterback position, because many quarterbacks have converted to the tight end position because you really need to understand the game exceptionally well as a tight end, which is why we know this as football fans, tight ends take a long time to develop, just like how quarterbacks can take a long time to develop. And I would argue that the tight end position has changed more substantially than any other position in the NFL at the moment. I think that they've gone from heavy, large blocking tight ends. They've almost were an additional blocker, which they still can be in a lot of cases. But there are now many tight ends in the league that can barely block, and they pretty much only receive. I would argue that in a lot of scenarios, they're basically just a big receiver. A lot of times they don't have quite the same speed, not quite the same agility, but tight ends have become a lot more like receivers than they are, of an offensive lineman.
Well, I would even argue in the running back and wide receiver position as well, that if we're dissecting those positions that all they're doing is their offensive production and they don't get any points for blocking, it means that the casual fan that's just doing fantasy football every now and then doesn't realize how important some of that blocking is. Like, some of these running backs are just in for a play because of how much better they block relative to some of their counterparts. And tight end kind of figures the same way. Like you and I were talking about the Buffalo Bills, how Dalton Kincaid cannot be relied upon to be a blocker, which is going to be an issue in this contract year as the Bills are evaluating if this is who they want to go with before moving on. And Dawson Knox gets brought in on a lot of these blocking downs to be able to make sure that this high-powered running offense has the necessary blocking to be able to move downfield. So maybe some in the future. Now, I don't know how if Yahoo can accommodate these settings, but being able to have some of those points for pancakes or whatever blocking statistic that you're a fan of, it could be something across the board to be able to say, hey, these offensive positions do well more than just run, catch, get downfield, those sorts of things. Some of these blocks can be pivotal, right? Like if you're running back and you're preventing a sack, that can be huge. Now, I can keep going down this path, but we got 3.5 minutes here, Jake. I want to make sure we're allocating some time to get people to understand what they're expecting in this league. Because when you've got a 2-quarterback league, half PPR, this is going to be a situation where you're going to see quarterbacks flying off the board in the first round, and it's going to be applauded. Like, it's not one of these things where it's the joke of the draft of, hey, how did Patty Mahomes go 6th? Here, we could be seeing 3-4 quarterbacks off the board in the first round, and this adds a layer to it. So if we scroll down, Jake, I want to be able to show the draft order. Me and Jake got absolutely screwed on draft order here. I'm the Richmond Hill Lions. It's batting 8th in the 12-team league. Jake, you're going 10th as J4Com J. Is that right?
Yeah, I got the 10th pick. Let me just scroll down here so everyone can see. Zach, and before we go into here, this is proof that we did not set this. I am the commissioner, and believe me, I would not put myself as 10th overall. But I got the 10th pick. Zach's got the 8th pick.
Track.
Wow, my brothers crushed it this year. I got two brothers, 2nd and 3rd overall. I mean, that's pretty lucky. Let's see what else we got here. Zach, your dad got a late pick, end of the first round, which I actually don't mind because you get those two in a row in a snake draft.
Yeah, I do like the 12 pick. I've had great fantasy success batting at the end because there's a lot of things you don't have to calculate anymore if you know you've got it back to back. Like if I'm coming out of like the 11th position, I've got to do some games as to risking what the person after me is going to do. I like having that full clarity. Out of the 8th position, I feel like I'm going to struggle here. I feel like the meta for fantasy football this year is there's a very clear like top 6, top 7. And out of the 8th spot, this might be do I go quarterback? I've got a couple elite running backs and wide receivers I got my eyes on, but to be able to snag Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, that might end up being something I got to factor in. It's something I'm considering. The more I'm talking about it out loud, I got a couple running backs and wide receivers that I'm going to have some difficulty passing on to go quarterback. But I am interested to see if anybody above me goes quarterback, because it's going to make me super tempted to go with the clear people that are in that top 7, top 8 in the current meta. Jake, with you at the 10 pick, I'd be a lot more tempted going quarterback personally. 8, to me, is a completely different beast from 10.
Yeah, I think when I look at our draft, ideally, you want to come out with a superstar. Typically in a normal draft, 1 QB leagues, you want to come out with a superstar running back or a superstar receiver. In our draft, I think you just want to come out with a superstar receiver, running back, or quarterback. And when you're looking at late in the first round, generally speaking, I think you're going to see the top tier running backs, the top tier receivers go. I don't know if I'm going to expect to see any quarterbacks go before. It could be one QB, could maybe go a little earlier. We got a lot of Bills fans in our pool, so you could see Josh Allen go a little earlier. But I think ideally, I think to your point, I think you're looking at potentially getting maybe even 2 quarterbacks, especially when you're at that 10, 11, or 12th spot. I do think going heavy on quarterbacks is not the worst thing. The other thing that I want to make a note here, and we haven't talked so much about this, but quarterback injuries. Obviously, they're common, but they're nowhere near as common as, say, a running back injury. So given how important the quarterback position is in this draft, and given that they're less likely to get injured versus a running back, especially for severe injuries like torn ACLs, although it happens, but they're a much safer pick also. Like I would argue that the running back position is much riskier. There's going to be a lot of injuries. There's one last piece I need to say before this begins, which is
Josh Allen, number one pick. The number one pick of the draft went Josh Allen.
Okay. So throw everything out the window that I said. Quarterbacks are flying off the shelf. I do need to say we also don't have a waiver wire. Our league is wide open. Okay, you pick up and drop guys whenever you want, as long as you start them before the games. You can dump guys anytime. We got to talk.
Lamar Jackson, number 2 off the board.
Oh, God, this is crazy. Okay, so typically we have a lot of quarterbacks go in the early rounds, but this is insane. To see those two guys gone at first and second is absolutely insane.
We've never seen that in the history of this league, Jake. It's never been the quarterback going first overall, let alone first and second.
To clarify something, my brother had the second overall pick. He took Lamar Jackson. My brother is a platinum Yahoo fantasy football player, so he is an elite player. He succeeds on numerous occasions. The fact that he just went with Lamar Jackson is still bonkers to me.
Hurts fourth.
Jalen Hurts, 4th overall. I mean, this is – the quarterbacks are flying, Zach. I'm starting to think we all need to be taking quarterbacks because otherwise we don't get anyone.
No, I think this is going to calm down. Now, I could be completely wrong on that. If everybody's going quarterback, then what I'm going to end up doing is fighting for scarcity. I'm going to end up looking to get a sizable advantage in other positions because I now know I will have a decided disadvantage relative to those first. I'm not going to put Jalen Hurts in that bucket, but compared to the first pick and the second pick, those two guys immediately now get themselves a 5 points per game advantage over their opponent on a week in, week out basis. So I understand it from a strategic point of view. It works out quite well. Jake, as we go deeper into this, I'm going to ask you to read out the picks. For all of the people watching, I'm a complete nerd, so I've got an Excel spreadsheet going on the right here that allows me to, as picks kind of come out, edit things to see how things are going available. I'm seeing Jaden. Don't worry.
For your pick, when you're about ready to click it, let's do the chime.
So I'm milking the minute. Like first off, can we talk about how the number one pick had 30 minutes to see they had the number one pick and then waited to the last second to draft Josh Allen? They had all the time in the world and they still used the full minute.
Josh Allen, number 1 overall in this fantasy draft. I can tell you there's probably, I don't know if there's another draft in the world that has Josh Allen going first overall.
Okay, it's me,
Zach,
right?
You're up. Okay, so talk us through this. What's going on? What's going on in your mind right now?
Are you gonna play the sound? Because I think my next pick is an easy one.
All right, give me a sec here.
With the 8th pick in the Bloodline Fantasy Football Fantasy Draft. That was terrible, but we're live, so it doesn't matter. The Richmond Hill Lions are going to proudly, in a half PPR format, take the absolute beast of a running back from the Detroit Lions in Jahmyr Gibbs.
Very solid pick. Not surprised. I know you're a big fan of his. I think that the big piece there is that half point, right?
Half point PPR.
Half point PPR. Jahmyr Gibbs is about as good as it gets. The only other guy I could think of, which I do really like, and we'll see where he goes, Alvin Kamara. I love Alvin Kamara this year. He's shown, with or without good quarterback play, he gets it done, gets so many receptions, so great after the catch. You know, I love a pick like that. I really do. I think he's an elite running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, both in terms of receiving and running. I think Montgomery, I mean, you and I talked about this. He's really taken he's going to take a big step backwards. So, here we go. I am up.
Justin Jefferson off the board.
Okay. So, I got to be honest. I was looking to take Justin Jefferson there. I was really feeling good about that. But I'm going to go with a very safe pick here. And I want to be clear about why I'm taking this guy. This guy is my tried and true. He's won me at least one fantasy football pool I forget what year it was. He won it for me. I owe it to him. The big dog, Derrick Henry.
I love the pick. I was hoping he would come back to me. I love the pick. I don't understand why he's going so low. In the half PPR format, between running backs and wide receivers in one combined list, he was the second highest player last season. He's even higher than Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was considering Derrick Henry over Jahmyr Gibbs, because I think Derrick Henry is going to have an absolute monster of a season. I think it's a great pick. You might even be ahead of me after round one. And I was 2 picks ahead of you. We got CeeDee Lamb off the board, and now we've got my dad. And this is going to be a fun one.
I'm very curious to see what happens here.
Yeah, so
the quarterbacks, you were right though, Zach. The quarterback picks definitely slowed down.
Oh yeah, they had to. The value is just crazy. So with my dad, I'm expecting one of these 2 picks to be Brock Bowers, because he's a massive, massive Brock Bowers believer. But most of all, I just want to see if he can still use a computer. I've had to. Oh, we got Brock Bowers off the board immediately. I know my dad.
First round pick. Brock Bowers snuck in at the end of the first round. Let's just be clear about something. Brock Bowers, tight end, went in the first round of our fantasy football pool.
Yeah, I think
that's high.
I think he could have gotten him potentially later. Now,
much later.
In standard drafts, though, Brock Bowers is going in the second round, maybe early third.
Second, but not first round. That's high.
Fair enough. But at this point, it basically is the beginning of the second round. Like, he doesn't have a real first round pick, if you think about it. So he probably is calculating that Brock Bowers is just not coming back to him. So he just, I love Josh Jacobs as a pick.
Great pick. A ton of touchdowns for that guy. He's going to just rack up the touchdowns. I really actually had him on my list here. Would have loved to get me Josh Jacobs. But you know what? It's you can't get everyone. But I will say Josh Jacobs in particular, I think is going to have a monster season.
You're on the clock, Jake. What are you, I guess we'll not ruin the suspense and give you a what are you thinking, but we got 4 of the first 5 picks being quarterbacks, and now we haven't had a quarterback since. I think we got ourselves an interesting board in front of us.
We do. There's a lot of stuff wide open. You know, it's interesting. I would have loved actually to go 2 QBs and really load up on the QBs. Unfortunately, so many guys went that I felt like you, I could take advantage of some guys being available and some guys being open. And so I said I went with a super safe pick as my first round pick. I'm going to be taking what I would determine quite a risky pick, but I love me a rookie running back. Ashton Genty, baby. I'm going big running backs this year. Even though there's always injury concerns, I like teams that are run heavy. And boy, oh boy, the Raiders are going to be run heavy.
Yeah. Hey, Amon-Ra's off the board, and it's me now.
Oh, wow.
Let's flip over. So while I think, Jake, if you can vamp a little bit for me, I got to figure out what I'm doing pick-wise.
Yeah. Look, I think when I'm looking around the board here, I'm looking at plenty of receivers still available because, of course, there's been so many quarterbacks taken. Some of the top tier running backs have been taken, but there is plenty to go around in terms of wide receiver, even in terms of tight end. I mean, we've only had 1 tight end go, which is, I would argue, is actually surprising. Zach?
You want to hit me with the music?
Yeah, here we go.
With whatever pick number I am, I'm going with my boy, Malik Neighbors. And this one is going to be a little bit interesting because what I did was I took Malik Neighbors over Nico Collins, and I took Malik Neighbors over some other big names too, right?
You took him over Drake London, Puka Nakua, Brian Thomas Jr., Tyreek Ladd McConkey, AJ Brown. I mean, there's some big names there.
There's
I'm
some big names
curious.
here. Okay, so here's my thinking. So in
Does Jackson Dart fall into this conversation?
Yeah, he 100% does. So Malik Neighbors got the most targets of any wide receiver in fantasy last season as a rookie, and he finished among wide receivers in the half PPR format as wide receiver 8. So if he was doing that with basically nobody at quarterback, I think Russell Wilson is an upgrade over Daniel Jones, and I think Jackson Dart is an upgrade over Daniel Jones. The other piece, too, is I think the wide receiving core somehow got worse. I think that overall the running game is going to be interesting, but I think Malik Neighbors is a freak athlete. He's going to get peppered with targets in the half PPR format. I think he's going to do better than wide receiver 8, and I like him better than Nico. I think Nico Collins is a bit of an injury risk for me. And then Brian Thomas Jr., I wasn't really that thrilled seeing what we saw out of him last. Now, he did better than him last season. I don't know if I fully believe the production. So, and especially because he now has target competition with Travis Hunter. So Malik Neighbors, I figure to be the safer part of it. There are some injury concerns, like people are talking about his turf toe. I was able to check with my wife, who is a specialist in this area. She's not concerned about the turf toe. I'm good with that going forward. And I think Malik Neighbors is the pick that's going on there. Now, I've got an elite wide receiver and an elite running back. I think that positions me well for some of these rounds that are coming up. And Jake, why don't you walk us through who's been off the board since I've been talking?
Yeah, we've got quite a few receivers go since you. For one thing to note here, AJ Brown went right after him, so it's going to be interesting to track those two against each other over the course of the season. We then had Joe Burrow go 19th. You know how I feel about Joe Burrow. I mean, fantasy wise, of course, he's a great quarterback. He does lack that running ability, so I tend to lean away from guys like that. From there, we did have more receivers go. All these guys we were talking about, Nico Collins, Puka Nakua, and then Bucky Irving and Drake London. Patrick Mahomes actually just went. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see those four receivers, how they stack up against each other. We're looking at Puka Nakua, Nico Collins, AJ Brown, Malik Neighbors, and Drake London. I'm curious to see how those ones stack up against each other.
Can we talk about this? The first pick in the draft already has two quarterbacks.
Correct. They do. That is wild. So who are their quarterbacks? Remind me now. Do they have
Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes?
That's interesting. I mean, look, I think that I actually don't mind the Josh Allen pick. Personally, I don't like the Patrick Mahomes pick. Agreed. Again, I think it's high. When I look at who's available right now, I would argue there's at least 5, even 6 quarterbacks that I would take over Patrick Mahomes that are still available. I think it's way, way too early to take a guy like Mahomes in this draft. But heck, Bo Nix just went, and I know you love Bo Nix. He's got some upside. Don't love him. I still think there's players there that are better, but certainly some quarterbacks here that have gone, I would argue, a little earlier than I expected. Mahomes has gone earlier than I expected. Nix has gone earlier than I expected. So quite surprising there.
Now we just got Kyron Williams off the board. It is interesting to me because this is the one draft that I do every year that I can't properly prepare for because you have no idea how your league mates are going to value quarterback. And even in my dad's case, the tight end position. So there's all kinds of opportunities that creates that, no amount of practice can really prepare you for.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's really tricky. It's a very difficult draft process. We've seen I don't recall last year, but I certainly did not see 4 quarterbacks taken in the first 5 picks last year. There's
No,
just
in
no
fact,
way
I've
we saw
got
that.
I somewhere in my Excel spreadsheet I have what last year's draft was. Last year's draft there was 3 in the first round, 2 in the second, 2 in the third. So we're seeing it, happening right now in an unprecedented clip. Oh, I'm on the board next. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. See, I had a long break. Feel like I haven't taken a guy in a long time.
Yeah. We've got a long break as we go from my pick into what feels like the ether.
I'm certainly a little concerned with my team right now. I know it's early on. It just feels
Caleb
so.
Williams.
Wow, that is crazy high.
Oh, yeah.
So we got Caleb Williams, 31st overall.
It's me now.
Yeah, Zach, you're on the clock.
I'm on the clock.
Yeah, I got
some interesting things to consider.
I think when I look at what's going on the board, there are still to me plenty of talent to go around in terms of receivers, running backs, quarterbacks. I'm still seeing quality starting running backs, and it's kind of surprising at how good they are. And Zach goes with his tried and true James Cook. He did it in his mock draft. He did it in his real draft. And now I'm on the clock, and I'm going to move quick here. I'm going straight for those Baker's dozen. I got to go Baker Mayfield.
I almost did that.
Yeah, I was getting kind of nervous, to be honest. Sitting with 2 running backs, not a single quarterback, not a single receiver. I simply cannot go very long without a quarterback. I think Baker's a great quarterback.
I almost found myself doing that myself.
I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield was top 5 in fantasy football last year statistically. So I'm expecting another big year from him. He's got Egbuka back as a rookie, right? He's got Egbuka, so I think we'll see some good things from him. Obviously, Godwin's injured, but I think Mayfield, is a great pick because he also can run.
Yeah, so Jake, full disclosure there, I was picking between Baker Mayfield, James Cook, and Ladd McConkey. Those were the 3 names. I'm not taking Achane because I don't believe in his injury status. That's just a personal take for me. Achane just went off the board.
Man, the 2 of us think alike. I was debating between Cook and Mayfield, and Cook was gone, so I was going Mayfield.
Yeah, I love the Mayfield pick off of you. Now I'm actually personally very concerned about who I can potentially get as my quarterback 1 in this league. This is going to be a challenge. I'm going to probably be forced to take a quarterback with my next pick. But if I'm not getting someone I like here, I might just double down in some of these other positions. There are some other guys that are on the board that I love.
Yeah. I was going to say, there's the truth is when I look at the quarterbacks still, I'm still seeing 6, 7, 8, 9. I would say there's still about 10 quarterbacks left that can play. So and I don't think I think now we're going to see that taper off the quarterback position. So if you're seeing someone elite as a receiver or a running back, I still think it could make sense to go that direction. Or tight end. Obviously, tight ends have basically been untouched. I think we've only seen 2 tight ends go, right? Brock Bowers and
Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. McBride went just after.
Your dad just took Dak Prescott. Wow, that is interesting. Very interesting picks. I mean, I'll say this. I don't think the Dak Prescott pick is terrible, but I don't think it's good either. I mean, if it's his second quarterback, I guess you could tolerate it. I don't know if it's his first or his second. The DK Metcalf pick, I don't like at all. They don't have a quarterback. Like, simply put, Aaron Rodgers is going to be awful this year. He's basically unplayable. Even in our fantasy football league, I would argue he's almost unplayable. Don't like the DK Metcalf pick because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to really do much of anything this year.
Yeah, I have a fun DK Metcalf stat that I've got in my back pocket, but I'm waiting for later. So we'll come to that one. I think, okay, so we got Omari and Hampton. I'm looking at that team that's right. Oh,
got an exciting pick here for you, Zach. I'm on the clock.
All right.
And I think I got something interesting here. I'm debating between a couple guys. I'm debating between. Yeah, I will. I haven't made my decision yet, though. Okay. Yeah, I'm deciding between three guys right now. Ooh, this is a tricky one.
20 seconds.
Damn. How can I not take? You know what? I got it. I gotta go. I gotta go George Kittle. He's the best tight end in the league last year. Gotta go. I talked about this. Tight ends might as well be a receiver. I don't have a receiver yet. Kittle's my receiver. He got 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. That is wide receiver 2, almost wide receiver 1, in my opinion. So I think that's a pretty good locked and loaded.
No, it's a great pick. And now I am stuck in a tough place because I would have been very tempted there. But Jake, hit me with the music.
Hold on.
With the 41st pick in the Bloodline Fantasy Draft, I am officially taking my quarterback 1 off of the board. None other than Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, who I think is set up for a great season.
So let's hear. I want to break down that pick for me. Why Brock Purdy, as your number 1? Obviously, we're getting late into the draft. That was a 41st overall. Why Brock Purdy there? There's not a lot of great talent left, but I'm curious to know why Brock Purdy.
So Brock Purdy in this position, the San Francisco 49ers have one of the easiest calendars of any team in the NFL going into this season. I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to be as healthy as everybody is saying. I know all the analysts are saying, hey, he's practicing. He's going full weight. That's what they said before everybody got screwed taking CMC with the number 1 pick last year. I think this is going to be a situation where with the defense not being as sharp as it's always been, they are going to have to pass more. They just paid Brock Purdy. They're going to demand him to do more. And at this point, I couldn't afford to not get my QB1. I had to get someone that's stable, that's reliable. I'm just kind of looking for someone who's going to get me 16 to 18 points a week. I'm not going to be looking for something demanding. There are some other studs in other positions that are on the board that I think I'm going to get some later. But Jake, I wouldn't be shocked if I end up taking my QB2 in the next round. This is going to be one where I've got to get some stability out of this situation because I've kind of gambled in my first couple picks there, trying to beef up my running back and wide receiver room. So this is one where I couldn't afford to have this be a significant liability. I'm getting myself someone pretty stable. I think he only missed 1 game last season. I believe in his accuracy. I believe in his decision-making ability. And if I just look at what I think he's going to do from putting up points relative to other people on the board, he's someone I've got enough confidence in just to be stable. And Zeev took Jared Goff, who is going to be my second stable quarterback that I was definitely considering to take off the board.
Yeah, definitely like Jared Goff. It's unfortunate to see him gone. I had my eyes on him too, although I'm not picking for a while. Jared Goff I like because Jared Goff is tried and true. You know what you're getting. You're going to get quality play. He's probably going to be top 10 in fantasy simply because the play action is so fantastic. Even without Ben Johnson, Jared Goff is going to have a great season because they have a great running game. They got great receivers. And Jared Goff is a very steady, solid quarterback. He might not have the running ability, but Jared Goff's a good fantasy quarterback.
He's a good fantasy. I think people are really doing him dirty. They're saying Ben Johnson's out of there. They're suddenly thinking he's not going to be a top 10 quarterback anymore. What Jared Goff does is boring. It's not flashy. What he does is he processes everything before the snap and he just makes the right decision. And he's chucking balls downfield. We don't have Jamison Williams off the board yet. He, I think, is a stud, and he's going to get Chuba Hubbard was a guy that I wanted as well, so it's a real shame to see him off the board. I was actually hoping to get him with my next pick now that Jared Goff is off, but there's going to be a ton of time between now and my next pick. I got to stop hoping on some guys. But overall, Jared Goff, I think he's being massively disrespected with where people are projecting him.
My guy, Terry McLaurin. Love him. I think there's great potential there. Although, when I look at his stat line, he had about 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns. I do think there's going to be significant drop-off. I saw him more as 1,000 yards, maybe 6 touchdowns, maybe 7 touchdowns. So, to me, I would have liked him. But he's certainly not going to put up the numbers that he put up last season, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think Terry McLaurin had a psychotic number of touchdowns relative to his number of targets. So there's a lot of statisticians that are trying to say that there's going to be some touchdown regression from Terry McLaurin. And I also think that overall, Debo's presence is largely not being factored in properly. I think Debo could be a really strong candidate within this offense, so long as he can put on, too much weight in the offseason. I don't know if you've seen those videos on Twitter of exactly how big he's gotten. But Debo, he used to be this rough and tumble guy. It's really been a shame watching in his career how he's gotten a lot of injuries and how he's become quite a lot more injury prone. But yeah, I think that's going to factor into how many balls and how many targets Terry McLaurin really gets. Okay, we got your brother on the clock. This is going to be an interesting one. He's already, if you scroll up, it seems like he's already got 2 running back. Okay, he went with JSN, who I love as a pick. That's a solid pick. Jake, what are you thinking of as we're kind of getting ourselves into this next round?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm certainly, although it's going to shock everyone because I already have 2 running backs, I'm still looking at running backs and I'm looking at receivers. Obviously, I don't have a receiver yet, so I'm certainly interested in getting a receiver. But a part of me feels like I've gone this far stacking up running backs. Do I just add one more and I run with 3 running backs every week and really try to dominate on the ground?
Jake, I'm not going to lie to you. That's what I'm doing. So I think regardless of what happens, I'm probably going running back in my next pick. There isn't really a quarterback that's screaming at me. I'm probably waiting until close to the very end on tight end now that the big 3 are off the board. I think you shoring up George Kittle is actually going to give you a pretty decisive advantage over most people going into the season. So I got to make up for it in other areas. I got to probably start stacking some running. Oh, Drake May's off the board, who I was potentially hoping for as my next quarterback. Kyler Murray off the board.
Kyler Murray's an interesting one, actually, because I was reading up on some of his articles about him, some of his stat lines. Obviously, he's gone downhill since his 2020 monster season, but there's something that Kyler Murray has. He still runs the ball a ton. So as a fantasy quarterback, I know a lot of people might not believe in Arizona right now. They might not believe in him as a great quarterback, but as a fantasy quarterback, Kyler Murray's still, potentially a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah. We said that we'd be dumb for drafting him, but in a standard format. I'm now wincing because my guy, Kenneth Walker, is off the board, and that's going to be a real gut punch. I think we're now really thinning out at the running back position, and I've got no choice. I probably have to go running back with my next pick.
There's still some quality there. There is one guy there who you're obsessed with. And I see that there's actually 2 guys that you're obsessed with that are still there.
I know of one. Justin Herbert's off the board. So now it's up to me.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. You're on the board.
I'm on the board. So yeah, I'm just doing my little double checks just to make sure I haven't missed anything. But right now, okay, so I'll give you this. I'm not drafting Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall would be a big mistake. Tony Pollard, I really like because I know the Tennessee Titans just vamped up that attack. Travion Henderson, I think, is the RB1, but I don't see Ramondre Stevenson just, being put on the full back burner. There's enough talent there. I do really like Travion
And he's on a
Henderson.
big salary. He's on a big deal still. So they want to play him.
So you might be swaying me here. I'm going with my guy, Tony Pollard, just because I know they've done massive work on that O-line, and they really do want to run that ball when it gets in the red zone. I'm probably going to live to regret that one because Travion Henderson does look like an absolute stud. He just absolutely shredded it in the preseason.
So here we go. I'm on.
You're on? Okay. Because I got more to say on what I just did there, but go for it.
With 58th pick in the Bloodline Fantasy Football Draft, I am going with the cool, calm, collected, second-year semi-rookie quarterback, JJ McCarthy. I love me some JJ McCarthy, and the reason I'm taking him is because I believe in the Minnesota Vikings. I believe in that offense. I believe in that receiving core. And JJ McCarthy, you better believe, has got to be at least as good as Sam Darnold. And if he's better, then boy, oh boy, I just stole myself a massive pick at 58.
100%. Love the JJ pick.
I still don't.
Sorry?
I still don't have a receiver.
A single wide receiver?
I do not have a single wide receiver.
I only have one.
But I have zero.
Yeah, zero. And also, this isn't the standard league. Like we have to get three. Like we're about to be in a world of hurt there. I though am also kind of feeling the pressure here because I like your two quarterbacks. I love Mayfield. I love JJ McCarthy. I'm pretty satisfied with my I like the Xavier Worthy pick by my dad. I feel good about Purdy as my first quarterback, but now I got to really think through who makes sense as the second quarterback. And actually, you know what? There's enough guys here that I'm actually pretty happy with taking. This really isn't a woe is me situation whatsoever. I'm actually pretty stoked that I got two guys on the board that I feel pretty comfortable as my quarterback too. So Jake, you got to go. You're probably committed, right? You're probably going wide receiver. Actually, you still have your flex spot open too, right?
Yeah, I do have a flex, so I could technically still go running back. This is the challenge, and I'm going receiver. The reason I'm going receiver is because my next pick won't be for a long, long time, and I can't take that risk. I am on the clock now. I actually wanted CJ Stroud really badly. I'm pretty pissed off about that, actually. Not going to lie. CJ Stroud, I believe, and I've said this so many times, I believe he's top 10 this year. Honestly, he might even be pushing to top 8 fantasy football quarterbacks this year. I see CJ Stroud taking a massive leap forward, and he's going to be comparable to what he was in his rookie season. I think last year was a fluke. CJ Stroud should be taken. It is my pick. I know exactly where I'm going. Don't have to give it a lot of thought. Cortland Sutton, Denver Broncos. I believe in Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is going to have a big year this year. He's got great coaching. He's got his number one receiver in Cortland Sutton. He's stretchy. He's long. He's fast. Cortland Sutton, baby.
Love the pick. Jake,
he can be a receiver one for me. Here we go, Zach.
Hit me with the music. With the 65th pick in the Bloodline Fantasy Draft, I officially have to take my quarterback 2 off the board. He's an ultimate sleeper, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked that this group of guys let me get him. I'm taking a guy who's not a good quarterback, but he's a good fantasy quarterback. I'm taking Justin Fields.
Wow. Okay. I mean, look, this is a very interesting pick. I really like it. And I think people will be surprised to hear that because you and I actually haven't really talked much about Justin Fields. But what I love about the pick is he's got free reign in New York. Okay. No one has any expectations. And he is going to run and run and run.
Oh yeah.
As a second quarterback in our pool, having a guy who's going to run at the rate that Justin Fields is going to run is a very impressive pick. I like it.
See, the thing here that people will forget is when he was in Pittsburgh last season, before Russ took over, he was a top 10 fantasy quarterback. And it's not because he's good at playing quarterback. It's because his floor is so darn high from how much this guy runs. A rushing touchdown is worth 50 passing yards and a passing touchdown. You know how much harder it is to do that than getting a rushing touchdown? This is just me kind of gaming the system a little bit and seeing, hey, we got some rushing touchdowns here that are going to just find their way on my team. Now, I will tell you, Jake, I don't feel great about the pick. Like, it's not like this is the type of thing where I think my floor is forever locked in. I think the Jets are going to have a real struggle here. And if the game script is off, I'm going to have a lot of weeks where I suffer. But for a QB2 en route to potentially getting a QB3 in here, pretty happy with the pick at this round. Jake, you look like you're coding an algorithm with your eyes. What's going on?
I'm researching. I'm researching. I mean, I'm not picking for a while, but yeah, still feeling kind of anxious about my team. I feel like
what are you anxious about? Talk to me. What do you got?
I don't feel settled enough with the quarterback position. I got Baker Mayfield and JJ McCarthy.
You're crushing me.
I'm still nervous because I know although I think McCarthy's going to have a big year, there's a chance there could be a slightly slow start. And I want to have a guy who can step in for a few weeks if need be. So I'm a little concerned. And of course, I'm lacking in the receiver position. So I'd love to lock in another receiver. It's tricky. When it gets thinner here, you start to wonder, some guys who are sitting, you're almost wondering, like, why are they sitting? Why is no one taking them? Is there something wrong with them that we don't know? Is there something missed? No one specific. I just mean in general, as it gets thinner here and you're looking around and you're seeing names, you're going, I would have thought this guy would have gone earlier. How come no one's taking him?
Call it out. Who are you thinking about?
Let's give an example. Like, there we go. Like Isaiah Pacheco,
Oh, yeah.
Obviously had a down year last year.
Huge.
But is that not, like, I see a lot of potential there. Even looking at Cam Scatterba. Like, why isn't he taken?
Oh, he's got an injury risk right now. He's dealing with something.
But he's not hurt.
Is he dealing injured? With something in training camp that made it sound like he might have. I'm going to do some research while we got some time.
Like, I'd be curious,
He's dealing with a nagging hamstring injury.
Okay, fair enough. That's pretty bad. Yeah, I would stay away.
They're expecting Tyrone Tracy to be the starter, who I actually think is a pretty solid take.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. This is an interesting one. I'm not necessarily taking him. Maybe I will. I don't know. But David Montgomery, obviously you got Jahmyr Gibbs. We know he's great. We know he's elite. Is David Montgomery going to take a massive step back, or is he still going to put up numbers? I mean, I'm looking at his touchdowns. Great. He only had 775 yards. He did have 340 receiving yards, but he had 12 rushing touchdowns. Like,
yep.
Is he not going to get goal line stands? Is he not getting any of those goal line rushes anymore? Is he not vulturing?
So, Jake, on an average basis last year, I think he was running back 13 on an average basis. Now, I think the real difficulty here is people don't know what is going on with Ben Johnson no longer in Detroit. because typically offensive coordinators don't have the commitment to the 2 running back set that that they were running essentially in Detroit. I think Montgomery is an undervalued pick. I think he's going to win some teams, some fantasy championships. It is hard talking like this while also thinking through the decisions while everybody is talking. This is a new one for us since we're fully live here. But yeah, I think that David Montgomery makes sense as a big pick as it comes to you. Now, I can talk about it quite honestly because I already have 3 running backs, Jake. I've got myself Jahmyr Gibbs. I've got myself Tony Pollard. And I forget who the second running back I took was at this point. Who did I get?
That's interesting.
I got James Cook. Okay.
Love Shakir.
Trevor Lawrence.
We got some comments in the group here.
Oh, yeah?
We got the Josh Allen. Do you flex Shakir, Coleman, Myers, Ollie Gordon? I mean, honestly, if you have Josh Allen, I love a Shakir or a Coleman pick. I think Shakir is a very safe pick. I think Khalil Shakir is going to have a big year with Josh Allen. I think Coleman's going to have a big year. We're late enough in the draft that both those guys could have good seasons. I don't think either of them are blowing up and crushing it, but I think they're going to put up good numbers. And, you're sort of double dipping, right? When you got Josh Allen. I know, Zach, you're a big fan of taking receivers when you have the quarterback to match with them.
Yeah, I like the stack. I'm a big fan of the stack. So I'm now also just looking. DJ Moore is off the board, and it's going to come to me next. So I'm going to be relying on you a little bit here, Jake. I'm deciding between a couple of receivers, and I don't really.
Yeah, you're pretty locked and loaded for everything else.
Who just got taken?
Right.
Draft results.
We just saw Jalen Waddle go. Now that is an awful pick in my opinion. I don't like Waddle at all. I don't like Miami. Don't like them this year. Don't like the team. Don't trust that Tua can stay healthy. Tua Tagovailoa is a very talented quarterback. He could be a great fantasy quarterback. Unfortunately, he can't stay healthy. Therefore, I can't trust him. Therefore, I don't roll with Miami Dolphins. I find it too risky. Zach, I'll be hitting the chime here.
Yeah. With the 80th pick in the Bloodline Fantasy Draft, I'm going with a rookie. I'm going with a rookie wide receiver, and I think he doesn't have any target competition. No. And he's the most talented rookie wide receiver, I think, in the class. I'm going with Ted McMillan, a.k.a. T-Mac. I think we're going to see a very interesting season out of him. I think it's going to be a tough first couple of weeks, but I think this is going to be one of these high variance picks that come the fantasy championship may be able to help me.
Very interesting pick. It's certainly a guy that was on my list. I think I'm a little concerned about Bryce Young. Maybe talk a little bit about Bryce Young and what you see in him and how that maybe connects with T-Mac. And I'm going to make my pick while we're going here. And while we're talking about rookie receivers, I got myself a rookie receiver. I'm going – not rookie receiver. I got myself going with a receiver relying on the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, Cam Ward, Calvin Ridley, dynamic duo. Talk about a team with no other options. It's Calvin Ridley or nothing. I don't
choosing between Jake. You and I were on the same wavelength there. I was going between T-Mac and Calvin Ridley. I think Calvin Ridley is going to get crazy separation. I love him. I almost took it.
That was risky. I mean, look, it's always risky going with receivers with rookie quarterbacks. I understand it can happen. CJ Stroud had a monster rookie season. It can happen. But generally speaking, rookie quarterbacks don't have great, true rookie quarterbacks don't have great first years. So sometimes it can be risky. But to me, the risk is worth it here, especially this late in the draft. And again, I had no receiver. I only had one receiver, and Sutton really needed to lock up another receiver there.
All right. So you asked me right before you made the pick a question, which I didn't get the chance to answer. How do I feel about the Bryce Young connection with T-Mac? And the answer to that one is I saw them in preseason. Bryce Young threw an absolute dime down the sidelines to T-Mac. Now, for every one of those good plays, there was also T-Mac dropping a gimme touchdown in the end zone. But what I saw in that play is that T-Mac going horizontal and going vertical was able to create separation in a way that's very hard for receivers to be able to do. I think those are just mental errors. I think he really shores that up. And as far as rookie wide receivers go, he's clearly the most talented, or at least he was according to PFF data coming out of college. As outside of Travis Hunter, Travis Hunter I just have as a mental block there because he is playing two positions. But outside of Travis Hunter, T-Mac, he's strong. I'm going to probably want to get more wide receiver depth later in the draft, probably from some veterans that I think are going a little bit undervalued to be able to try to de-risk some of those components of my team. But I think with my next pick, I'm probably going to have to keep going with some of these boomer bust candidates that I think potentially could be some of these lottery tickets that are the difference between just kind of making the playoffs and winning the whole league. Jake, what are you feeling as you kind of thinking through your next pick?
Yeah, I'm looking at two things here. Looking really at receivers heavily. I'm still considering quarterback. Maybe running back. It's tricky here because I keep in the back of my mind that I need three quarterbacks, and it's hard to ignore it. Like, you do need a third quarterback, and it's really thin right now. There is not much left on the bone. There's a little bit left. So I'm going to take my chances here, and I'm going to go with what I would consider to be still an elite running back. I am floored that this guy is still available. Honestly, it makes no sense to me. I don't understand how Aaron Jones is not taken off the board. I am going Aaron Jones. I mean, the guy is an elite running back. He did not have a drop-off whatsoever last year, had a monster season. I don't think they have a great running back room. I don't think Jordan Mason is a great running back. He's a backup running back at best. I love the Aaron Jones pick. Wow, no. You know what? The reason I'm going Aaron Jones is because, again, I said this before, I believe in the Minnesota Vikings. I believe in J.J. McCarthy, and therefore I got to believe in Aaron Jones.
All right, hit me with the music.
Here we go.
I'm going with the player who by half PPR was wide receiver 10 last season. On an average basis, he was wide receiver 15, and everybody's ignoring him because he's the second highest scoring wide receiver in this offense. I have no real choice. I wanted Emeka Egbuka, let the record show, but I just got to go off some of this last year data because I already have one rookie wide receiver. I can't go two. I got to go Jamison Williams.
Wow, I like the pick. Look, if you think Detroit's going to be great again this year, love it. I think there's a lot of volume there for him too, right?
Oh yeah. No, I think that target competition is going to be more in his favor. I think he's going to edge in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think with Isaiah Pacheco off the board, that's Zeev's crushing that part of that draft because Pacheco at this round is an absolute steal. But regardless, I think Jamison Williams with those go balls, they're going to have to do that more without Ben Johnson there. They're going to have to go with their speed guy. And Jamison Williams was able to show separation in a crazy way. Now, he was able to get a crazy number of points on relatively fewer targets. If his target share just goes up a little bit, he's a phenomenal pick, especially in this round. Jamison Williams had more fantasy points in this format than Drake London last season. And I was able to get him rounds and rounds later. Jamison Williams had more points than A.J. Brown. He had more than Ladd McConkey. He had more than Garrett Wilson. He had more than, T. Higgins obviously had more on an average. But, Jake, your wide receiver one, Courtland Sutton, he had more points than Courtland Sutton last season. Courtland Sutton was the focal point of the offense.
but Sutton had a very slow start to the season and a good finish. So that's what I like to see. I like to see that momentum. I know not everyone believes in the old Mo, but I believe in old Mo, and momentum is a big piece. It really can help a lot of teams, especially specific players, young players. I like to see the momentum. Bo Nix really got going late in the season. So again, I'm not saying my receiving core is good. I think I have a pretty bad receiving core. I'd be surprised if it's not the worst in our entire pool, but I think I have solid quarterbacks and I have phenomenal running backs. I mean, my running backs are ridiculous.
I do like Kittle, so.
But I have a stable. Like those running backs, like those are Mustangs, baby. Like Henry, Genty, Jones. I really got quite the stable.
Jake, if you've got Aaron Jones, I would highly recommend handcuffing with Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason had the higher explosive running back rate, which is why Aaron Jones is going so late, because people are expecting him to vulture Aaron Jones's touchdowns. So I'm not saying do it with the next pick, but just keep that in the back of your mind, because that is the reason why Aaron Jones is going so late.
Yeah, it's fair. It's very fair. And look, I that's always the risk with him. But on the flip side, they paid Aaron Jones a ton of money. And because of that, I feel like they're going to use him a lot.
Yeah. So, Jake, I am going to have to think through what my next pick is going to be.
We got a lot available. There's still plenty to go around here. I mean, it's getting thinner. I'm sure you're looking at Spencer Rattler because he's the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. So I'm sure Spencer Rattler's got to be near the top of your mind, no?
Saints fans, Spencer Rattler, not the guy. Did I do it?
Yeah, that's certainly sounds kind of like me. Yeah, Spencer Rattler, definitely not the guy. I mean, he's technically the guy. He's starting. Don't know how long that will last.
Jay,
but
I think I'm seeing
if you're looking for the first few weeks.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing a semblance of a question of stacking in chat. I'm very curious to see what's in there if you can pull it up.
Well, let's take a look here. So, do I trade Brian Robinson for Purdy? My starter is Herbert right now. Oh, we can actually show this on the stream.
Oh, can we? Hell yeah.
There we
We're learning
go.
Technology.
Okay. Do I trade Brian Robinson for Purdy? My starter is Herbert right now, but I don't have a backup. I would rather start Purdy over Herbert.
Well, Blakey, honestly, what's your running back depth? Like if Brian Robinson isn't going to be starting for you, I actually would, because I don't really believe in Herbert personally.
Yeah, I agree. I think ultimately, Blurpy, you should make that pick. You should make that trade if Brian Robinson is not necessarily your best receiver, or if you have enough depth that you think you could survive there. Because a lot of teams will have 3 or 4 solid receivers. Yeah, so I would probably make that move. I mean, I really don't like Herbert this year for fantasy. They're such a heavy run team. I really, really agree. I think you should definitely be making that trade. Definitely. I'm going to just write this out here. Should be making. I
also saw a stacking question somewhere in there, and I love stacking types of questions. Oh, it's my pick next. Okay, sorry. I thought it was my pick now. I was
on that, Zach. Don't like Herbert.
Jake?
Herbert,
Jake, it is my pick, and I'm very excited about it. Hit me with it.
I want to hear it. Go ahead.
Hit me with the music.
I can't right now. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. With the 104th pick in the Bloodline Fantasy Draft, your boy is going with another rookie wide receiver that I don't think people are giving enough credit. I'm going with Matthew Golden.
Wow. Okay. That's like out of left field to me. Did not have him anywhere near my wow. That's out there. I need to hear. You must think Jordan Love is going to be like a top 5 quarterback this year. If you think
I don't need to. I don't need to. I got a trivia question for you. Okay. Jayden Reed, where do you think he finished in our format last year? Can you hear me?
I'm just picking. Yeah, I'm just picking.
Oh, okay. I'll wait for you to pick, and then I'll go on a whole rant, okay?
Okay. So I got an interesting one here.
I'm excited for where you're potentially going. For some reason, I feel like you're going for your quarterback 3 right now, but I could be completely wrong. What do you got?
You nailed it.
Did I?
Nailed it.
Who are you going for?
I mean, to be honest, there's only one guy left who's starting. So I'm going Cam Ward. Cam Ward to me is the last quarterback that's going to actually start the season, and there's no one to take over. So I feel like it's safe. I think it's a good situation. Okay, so we do have some responses from
Blurp Robinson is your RB6. Definitely shore up your quarterback 1. That's definitely.
He's got Chase, Hubbard, Aaron.
This is an easy one.
Go
make that trade. That's an easy one.
No question about it. Go make that trade. Purdy is a much better option than Herbert.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to break that down for a sec, Zach.
Hold on, I want to go back to Jayden Reed, but go for it.
I just want to break that down for a sec. Just our note here, that there is no question about it. Purdy is a much better option than Herbert for fantasy football. Do I think Herbert's the better quarterback? Absolutely, but we're talking about fantasy football here. Brock Purdy is a much better option than Justin Herbert. Herbert is heavily restricted given that there's such a heavy run game. I do see another note here. Do I trade Mims for Trevor Lawrence?
I don't think that decision is going to determine your fantasy league. Trevor Lawrence, it depends on, I imagine you're starting someone over Trevor Lawrence, and Mims is
Brian Thomas Jr., so he's saying, the stacking again, right? Lawrence, Thomas, No,
I think Mims, I can actually see a path towards him getting more. I think I would prefer Mims over Trevor Lawrence. I can't start Trevor Lawrence. Mims, I can at least see a path where he is psychotically fast. So I could see Sean Payton trying to figure out how to elevate his role. Now, they've been saying that for a couple of years now. They try to get him involved as the punt return, as the kick returner. Mims, I think, has more talent overall. So that's where I'm at there. But
I also think you can start Purdy every single week. Trevor Lawrence, I just don't think you can start him every week, Jake, assuming Burpee's in one QB league.
Jake, I need to go back. Where do you think Jayden Reed was in our format last season? Where do you what wide receiver ranking do you think he finished as?
He had to be high because he got a lot of receptions.
Jayden Reed finished as the 15? Wide receiver 20, despite the fact he was 3rd. He's the most talented guy on that roster last year, and they weren't using him in 2 wide receiver sets. Now you've got Green Bay with Matthew Golden, everybody recognizing he's the biggest stud on the team. He's going to be playing in those 2 wide receiver sets. Jayden Reed's injured. Someone has to eat that volume. Why not Matthew Golden? That's why I'm pumped about that pick, because in that round, how many people can you be that excited about?
There's another guy I could be excited about. I could be super excited about this guy.
Who are you excited about?
I'm beyond excited about this guy.
Who do you got?
Deebo Samuel.
Love the pick.
I think it's, it's not some unbelievable, but it's a late pick. It's a 111th pick in the draft. And, oh, gosh, someone just took Jordan Mason. Well, there goes my handcuff situation. Guess I got to live with the fact that he might be stealing some reps, but, I can live with it.
Do you have the sound button ready?
Give me a second.
I got 35 seconds, so use any of those. I'm doing a reach. All right. With the 113th pick in the Bloodline Family Draft, I am doing a draft pick that Yahoo is going to kill my draft grades, thinking that I'm doing a reach. But I think this guy is this season's Brock Bowers. I am taking the tight end from the Indianapolis Colts, the rookie, Tyler Warren.
Okay. It's an interesting pick, and I'll tell you why I love it. I actually love it. And yeah, Yahoo might not, whatever. I'll tell you why I love it. Because they have terrible quarterback play. And generally speaking, terrible quarterbacks throw to their tight ends a lot. They can be a very great safety valve. Daniel Jones and or Anthony Richardson, whoever the heck they trot out there, is going to be chucking the ball a ton to the tight ends because they're not going to see the field. And I love the pick.
Case in point, Brock Bowers. He didn't really have much to go off of that quarterback last season, and he ate.
Correct. It can be great. You said there was something about stacking. Let's just go check that up. Oh, yeah, that was the conversation regarding Josh Allen and, do you add some of the Bills receivers to your roster as a potential flex receiver? Because I don't necessarily see any of the Bills receivers right now as number one receivers. Do you add someone like a Khalil Shakir or a Keon Coleman as an option as your flex for Josh Allen?
Sorry, can you repeat that again? I know this is on me. I was reading something.
Yeah, so, talking about stacking, you love stacking. You love taking receivers when you got the quarterback. You love double dipping. It's disgusting, but you love doing it. Never double dip in the salsa. Never double dip in the guacamole. I mean, come on. You know better than that. But do you double dip with Josh Allen? Do you take a Keon Coleman, a Khalil Shakir, and put them as your flex because you have Josh Allen?
That's an offense where I don't stack. Actually, that's an offense where the stack I do is between Josh Allen and James Cook, because then I'm getting involved in pretty much 100% of Buffalo Bills touchdowns. The difficulty is the wide receiver, like the way that Josh Allen kind of works is he lets everybody eat. So the individual wide receivers aren't really getting enough points for it to be the type of thing where I'm actually feeling good about that particular stack. Now, that being said, I feel way better about Keon Coleman this season. And Shakir, Jake, when are we getting Shakir back?
It's a good question. I don't think he's supposed to miss major time. I'm just taking a look right now online. Khalil Shakir. Let's just see how long he's supposed to be out for.
While you find that, my problem is that Khalil Shakir was the number one wide receiver last season with that offense, and he only was like wide receiver 35. So at that point, I'm going to take a whole bunch of other people that I think are going to get way more points. And at that point, the stack value just doesn't feel as encouraging. Daniel Jones is off the board.
Expectation, just so you're aware, the expectation is that he will be available week 1. That's the expectation. Now, granted, he's obviously nowhere near 100%. He's barely been practicing, yada, yada, yada. Wouldn't expect big things from him. What do you think of the Giants quarterback situation? Like, what are we looking at here with the Giants? Obviously, most people fantasy-wise are staying away from it with a 10-foot pole. Now, granted, our pool is a little different with the 2 QBs. How do you deal with the quarterback's situation in the Giants? Who's starting realistically to, close out the season?
I mean, Russ is starting the season, and then the second it's going south, they're giving the ball to Jackson Dart. I think it's that clear.
So short leash, super short leash for Wilson, eh?
100%. And Jake, I might end up taking Jackson Dart as my quarterback 3. I'm thinking this one through. Now, you may recall, Jake, last season, my quarterback 3 was Jacoby Brissett, who was in a similar situation last season in that people were saying, when is Drake May coming in? because Drake May was just waiting in the wings. I ended up doing a trade to get Bo Nix. I ended up trading. This was like in week 3 or 4. I ended up trading Brian Thomas Jr. to get Bo Nix, which on paper, like, it's crazy that I still won the season after making that kind of a mistake. But it's a type of situation where I'm heavily considering Jackson Dart. I think he's the best of the quarterbacks still available. And I still have quite a few sleepers in my back pocket that I want to get in later rounds. But
I think that's fair. Yeah.
But if you were to say, hey, Zach, if you were looking on betting sites and saying, hey, are we taking the over on Jackson Dart? I'm probably taking the over on the number of games they got there, because they're going to end up projecting Russ to do more games than I think he's realistically going to do.
And Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh is, who is the backup for Aaron Rodgers? Because he can't last a full season. Obviously, they don't have Kenny Pickett anymore because he's in that whole Cleveland quarterback room debacle. But, like, who is Aaron Rodgers' backup?
Oh, yes. The one and only Mason Rudolph.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
And then they got Skylar Thompson, who's not really an option.
Fun name, though.
Great name.
Yeah, no, that Pittsburgh... I got a question for you. If Aaron Rodgers ruins Mike Tomlin's streak of however many seasons at 500 or more, what does that say about Mike Tomlin?
It's an interesting one. I mean, look, everyone's reign has to end at some point. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to end Tomlin's reign of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this season for that team can go way south. Aaron Rodgers is going to be absolutely awful. The team is therefore going to fall apart, and Mike Tomlin's going to lose his job. Simple as that.
I mean, is Tomlin fireable? Like, seriously.
Everyone's fireable sooner or later. I think at the end of the day, I think he's already near the chopping block, just for the plain reason that they can't win in the playoffs, and they've been squeaking in for year after year. And then you go in, this is like the last shot he gets. And look, maybe they flukily do make the playoffs. I see Aaron Rodgers just having such a rough season. Zach, you are on the clock.
And I'm ready when you want to hit the music.
To see what you're looking at. Okay, let's hit the tunes. Give me a sec here.
With the 128th pick in the Bloodline Fantasy Draft, I'm going with the man, the myth, the legend, Jackson Dart, baby.
Oh, wow. My boy. I love me some Jackson Dart. Oh, it's my pick now. I will discuss after. You can go off and explain why you're going Jackson Dart.
Oh, no. I'm going to wait for you because you got to announce your pick.
Well, I don't know picks, so it's going to take me some time.
I think Jackson Dart's going to take over in the role. I think he's an absolute superstar in the making. It might not be this season, it might be a future season, but at some point, this guy is going to get the keys to the New York Giants kingdom, and I think he's going to elevate them to a new level. So I'm excited about Jackson Dart as a pick, and we'll see where it goes. Jake is very, very intense right now. It makes me feel like he's going all in for Wan'Dale Robinson.
I have no clue who to take.
You got 6 seconds. Honestly, at this pick, you're more likely dropping than starting. So, I love the Christian Kirk pick. That's actually on my list of sleepers.
Well, the reason I like it, I mean, I can't help myself by tying it to CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud is having a big bounce back year, and part of that is going to be some new receivers. And Christian Kirk, very good receiver. I mean, he had a good year. He's had good years with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's due for a good year with CJ Stroud.
All right. I like it. Oh, man, I thought we had 3 more rounds. We only have 2, eh?
2 rounds. That's it. Not a lot left.
Okay.
Now so it's time to really take some risks here. Why don't you go? Did you talk more about Jackson? Oh yeah, Jackson Dart. I mean,
Jackson
we know
Dart,
the
I
story with
advanced
him.
for 30 seconds while you figured
So
out which pick you want to
obviously
do.
there's someone who has not been taken yet who may start at some point, and that's Shedeur Sanders. Like, should someone be taking him in our pool just in the off chance that he's going to enter sooner rather than later? Or is he just so far down that depth chart?
No, I think he's that far down the depth chart. I think Joe Flacco's the guy. Did Joe Flacco get taken? There you go.
Yes, he did. Oh, yes.
All right. Who took Flacco?
It's a very good question.
But okay, are there any questions that are in? Because we're coming to the end of this draft. We got 2 rounds left. Is there anybody else
See if
on
we
your?
got anything left here. Nope, we're covered. The last piece was about, Mims for Trevor Lawrence. I think we said, let go ahead with Purdy. Wouldn't mess around. Trade for Purdy. He can be your starter all season long, and leave things be. Oh, here we go. This is my pick.
Russell Wilson off the
All
board.
right. Let's see. Yeah, Russell Wilson. I mean, yeah, not a surprise there. I mean, I've done this before, and I think I'm going to do it again. Should I do that? No, I really can't do that, can I? I mean, I guess I can. I talk so much shit about this guy, but I can't help myself.
Who do you got?
I need backup after backup after backup. I'm taking Spencer Rattler.
You're taking Spencer Rattler?
I want a 4th quarterback, and he's the starter at this point in time.
Oh, wow. Okay. Your quarterback room is way safer than mine right now. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so it's on me. I don't really care about quarterback so much as now in fantasy. I'm okay with Purdy's health. I'm okay with Fields' health. I might have to trade for quarterback help during the season. We'll get there. But for now, I'm shoring up my backup running back position. I'm going with a guy that I think is going to be the starting running back in Cleveland because I don't know if Judkins is going to be able to get past like the NFL's like the way they deal with penalties. So with this pick, I'm going with Dylan Sampson.
Now, risky, but this is what it's there for. This is the time.
Yeah, I'm actually very scared with my quarterback situation. Now, I felt the same way coming out of the draft last year. My quarterback 3 was Jacoby Brissett, who didn't finish the season. At least now I've got the quarterback that I think is going to finish the season in that situation. I'm just hoping that Justin Fields' health and Brock Purdy's health ends up being strong enough. But both of those guys can be top 10 quarterbacks. So I'm really relying on the rest of my team to really carry me here. And I've got my eye on another wide receiver that I think could be the steal of the whole draft in the last round. I'm hoping he falls to me. Jake, as you go into your last round, what are you thinking?
I'm looking around. I mean, it's definitely going to be, mind you, I should say, it's going to be a receiver or running back. I'm kind of looking, actually. It's likely receiver. I think I need one more receiver, but it's tricky. Like, do I go with a running back because running backs get injured so often and it's good to have another spare? Or do I try to take, like, I think a receiver is much more likely to explode, Getting a good receiver could be much better.
Now, I tell you who I'm really pushing for, except I don't know who's watching our live stream right now. It's very possible our league is just in here waiting for hints. So I'm waiting my good old time. I'm waiting the 11 picks until it's me. And if this guy's on the board,
both of us are not for a long time. Okay, well, a guy who I was considering is gone, so I don't need to think about that anymore.
Najee Harris?
Ramondre Stevenson. No, Ramondre Stevenson. He's still a starter. I mean, this is really tricky.
Dalton Kincaid, your boy.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I mean, Kincaid could have an interesting season.
Man, if this guy falls to me, I'm gonna get to drop this fact that I've been waiting on since the DK Metcalf.
I wish I knew who it was.
Yep.
I wish I knew.
Who is Love Buff Bills?
It's Wan'Dale Robinson, isn't it? Because he gets targeted like crazy.
Who is Love Buff Bills?
It is. It's Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, he does get a ton of targets.
I assure you it is not. Who is this Love Buff Bills guy? The guy that had the number 1 pick. Is this Bill owns Bills? No, Bill owns Bills. Who is Love Buff Bills?
I don't know.
Is it your dad?
I have to check. I don't think so. No, I think he's Jeff's. Oh.
It might be your dad.
Hey, maybe it is. Love
your dad
Buff
went double
Bills.
quarterback to start the draft.
Holy shit, it's him. It's for sure him. Oh my God. That's crazy. He's a genius.
Josh Allen number 1. That's why. Of course it's your dad that went Josh Allen number 1.
I think he's a genius that he did that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would do the same thing.
Chris Godwin, your boy, off the board.
Yeah, I kind of debated about Chris Godwin because you could probably stick him on the IR.
Yeah, you could.
That's why I potentially was considering him, but.
All right, we got 5 picks on the board still until I get to close out the draft.
Still good. Who is your guy still available?
My guy is still available. I will tell you the second that he's not. Who is taking this much time to pick in the last round? I know exactly who it is. It's your brother, but
you're just before me. You're just before me.
I know. So you can't stop me from drafting this player unless you like telepathically get someone else in the draft to like try to make. Now, the good news here is I got a couple guys that I would take in this last pick. A bunch of guys that I'd be happy with. So if I don't get this guy, I'll be able to live with it. It's not a big deal. But if I get this guy, I'm probably even starting in week 1. And it's the last round of the draft. So being able to get that value is pretty phenomenal.
That's shocking. I don't know who the heck you could be taking now that's going to be starting week 1.
I know. And this is going to be one insane. Where if this drops to me, I think this is going to be good content for the league because with the last pick, I feel like I'm going to be able to extract some actual value.
I mean, there is someone.
It's possible to identify it by now. I've given enough hints along the way.
You really haven't given anything helpful, though. I still have no clue who you're talking about.
Jaden Blue's off the board. It was not him. Jerome Ford's off the board. My turn is next, and this guy's still here.
Amari Cooper? Is it Amari Cooper? No. Why? He's their guy. There's no one else. Jacoby Myers wants out.
Yeah, but no, because look,
it's not a bad pick for me.
Not a bad pick for you, but I just think if Amari Cooper couldn't make it work with Josh Allen in Buffalo last season, I just can't see him suddenly getting it together in Vegas. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Come on. There's 19 seconds until I can potentially go on a whole monologue.
Let's go. DeAndre Hopkins?
No, although I like D-Hop. I've got a soft spot.
D-Hop, but he can't play anymore.
There was a year when I had both Kyler and D-Hop on the same. You're not going to believe this. He just got
taken.
No, he just got taken.
Stop it. Oh, really? That's who you wanted? Oh, he's not going to do anything.
No. Keenan Allen had 2 more fantasy points than DK Metcalf last season. Only 3 less.
But no. No, he's going to do nothing this year. He's going to do nothing this year.
All right,
No,
Jake.
you can't
I've
start him.
got my last pick in the draft, and I'm actually pretty excited about this guy. That this guy is the one that is falling to me. I'm going with my backup tight end. I'm going with a first round pick in this last draft in a Ben Johnson offense. I'm going with who I think is actually the number one talent-wise passing option for the Chicago Bears this season. I'm going with Colston Loveland.
Interesting pick.
So right now,
I mean, there's
my tight
certainly
ends,
potential there.
I've got the two rookies. One of them is going to break out. One of them is. There's too much talent there. They're both the first round. The coaches believe in them. The talk out of training camp on both of them is that these guys are absolute studs. I think I got a young team. I've got a potential for some pretty massive breakouts. I think overall, I'm pretty psyched.
Yeah. That seems legit.
And now, Jake, you're pondering very, very closely. You're looking for some of these steals at the end of your draft. You're looking at the 154th pick in a 2-quarterback, 3-wide receiver league. Let's see what we got here. Let's get your pick underway, and then let's recap where this went and see where we're excited, where we're not excited, and then call it a day. You only got 20 seconds left.
I know.
There's only so much you could be calculating up top.
I'm not sure who to take.
Just don't take Deshaun Watson and you'll be fine.
Screw it. Wan'Dale
Robinson,
baby.
Let's go.
Targeted, and he probably won't remain on my team for that long, but you never know. Maybe there's just funky thing. Maybe he immediately connects with Jackson Dart.
Maybe. All right, Jake. Let's do this. Let's do a team breakdown and then some overarching thoughts of how we feel about our teams and go from there.
Okay, so I'll start. I'll start with my team here.
Go for it.
We got Baker Mayfield, JJ McCarthy. I love that as two starters. I mean, you got Baker Mayfield, who was top 5 fantasy football last year, threw 41 touchdowns. He runs a lot. He runs touchdowns. Great arm. He's got a solid team around him. Receiving core is certainly a little in flux with injuries, but he's still got Mike Evans. He's now got Egbuka. He's in really good shape. You got JJ McCarthy. Really not a whole lot to say other than that. He's got an amazing team around him. He's got a great coaching staff. He's coming into the best situation he could have possibly ever come into. Love JJ McCarthy. Then you got receivers. You got Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley, Deebo Samuel. Don't think my receiving core is great. But, if Sutton takes a step forward, if Ridley has a really good year with Cam Ward, I think they're serviceable. My running backs are certainly the best part of my team. You got Genty, Henry, and Aaron Jones. I'm planning on probably starting the 3 of those guys regularly. So that's an incredible stable of running backs. Then I got an elite tight end, the best tight end last season, George Kittle. And on my bench, I still got Ward, Christian Kirk, Spencer Rattler. I got Spencer Rattler. And then I got Wan'Dale Robinson. Oh, Vito's got something to say. I don't know this Vito guy, but he just
Vito's my boy. He's great. Leagues would pay, yeah.
So great. Leagues, you are 100. You nailed it, man. You nailed it, Vito.
All right, Jake. I gotta run people through my team. Can you scroll to the top here?
So let's get stuff going here. So let's go.
I gotta walk people through. Let's go up.
So let's go to Zach's team here. Can I not click on your team?
So largely, I ended up having to take the draft that was given to me. I came into this draft wanting one of Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. I think they're a cut above. But once that's happening, I had to go for scarcity. So Jahmyr Gibbs, solid off the top. At running back, I got Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think could end up as RB1 this season, especially if David Montgomery takes a step back. I think this is a situation where if Jared Goff finds himself under a lot more pressure because that offensive line has been downgraded quite substantially with Ragnow off the team, he's going to have to do a lot more check down passes to Jahmyr Gibbs, who I believe it gets like 1.5 fantasy points per target, something ridiculous like that. Then I got James Cook, who's been over-indexing on touchdowns, but I have no reason to believe that wouldn't continue. And I got Tony Pollard, who is a lot more solid than what his name is. He's still, I believe, under 30, and this Tennessee Titans offense just shored up their offensive line. I think they're going to be planning on using Tony Pollard in some of these close situations. I think I've got a pretty solid running back room. I might even put them over yours, Jake, because I do think Tony Pollard might be a step over Aaron Jones with the Jordan Mason coming in and taking some of those possessions. It's a bold take. I'm going to sit with it. Then I'm going to end up on my wide receiver room last. Quarterback, I don't feel solid in. I've got Brock Purdy and I've got Justin Fields, who I think can be top 10 guys. Then I got Jackson Dart as my backfield. If one of those guys goes down, I'm going to have to do a trade. I will be screwed. Then in my tight end room, I'm betting on rookies. I think that one of Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland has a breakout season, but I do think the strength of my team is potentially in the wide receiver room and with the depth. You can see there in the second round, I got Malik Neighbors, who I believe could finish as the wide receiver one. He already had the most targets of any wide receiver in the previous season. Now he's getting massive upgrades at quarterback. Then if you can scroll down, because I don't remember all the wide receivers I took. Okay, then I've got the core of T-Mac, J-Mo, and Matthew Golden. I think between T-Mac and Matthew Golden, one of them is going to break out. And I actually think Matthew Golden potentially finds himself as the wide receiver one in a top 5 NFL offense. I'm actually very high on what I think the Green Bay Packers are going to do this year. J-Mo is very underrated. As I mentioned earlier, he had finished last season in half PPR as wide receiver 19, despite being the second wide receiver on that offense. And I think he's got path to more targets this year than he did last year. I think this is going to be a sneaky good wide receiver room. And I think we got some breakout superstars that can potentially carry me to a championship. I just got to hope and pray that my quarterback room stays solid.
Couple things to just ask you about, mainly quarterbacks. I'm curious. Brock Purdy, you love him. Just walk me through the Justin Fields piece again. I'm curious to hear the thought there, because obviously he is a starting quarterback for you.
So Justin Fields has a high floor because of how much he runs. This Jets offense wants to run. They just brought in Aaron Glenn as the head coach. Obviously, he's defensive oriented. We just watched Ben Johnson get all kinds of success with a 2 running back system. I think Breece Hall is going to have splitting with Braylon Allen quite substantially. But in that same vein, they're going to end up wanting Justin Fields to run quite a lot. With their first round pick this year, they invested in their O-line. If Justin Fields goes behind this new left tackle that they've got, he's going to be able to rack up a substantial number of points. And this isn't about being good at actually playing the quarterback position. This is purely who's going to get me some fantasy points. I think Justin Fields, where I got him, was an absolute steal, considering who was already off the board. He could very well finish as the top 10 quarterback just based on his running production, carrying him and his overall levels of production.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't spend a little time here and ask you about your thoughts on our favorite player in the NFL, the best player in the NFL, Josh Allen. He goes first overall in our draft. He's now marked as that 1.1, round 1, pick 1 in our fantasy draft. Give me your thoughts on that. Does it make sense? Was it a good pick? Was it too risky? I'm curious.
As the reigning MVP, it's hard to say that the most valuable player shouldn't also be the number 1 pick in the draft in our league where quarterbacks are this important. If Josh Allen had fallen to me and these things were in it, like a certain number of running backs were already off the board, et cetera, there's a very high percentage that I'm taking him, and there's a 100% chance that I think you're taking him, Jake. I think that Josh Allen is going to have a bit of a tougher time this year than he did last year. I think with Khalil Shakir out for at least the beginning part of the season, he's losing his sure hands. Khalil Shakir also was getting elite levels of yards after catch when he was catching the football. But we're in a situation here as well where I think Josh Allen, he runs with better than the best of them. He's the best that I know at trying to run as a quarterback from 20 yards out and trying to punch in a couple scores. I think they just paid James Cook, and they're going to be able to run that more. I think if the Bills run away with this season, they're going to try to use a game script that preserves Josh Allen as much as possible to reduce his chance of injury and just keep things as fresh as possible for the playoffs. But overall, I think anytime you're facing Josh Allen in fantasy, you got to find yourself coming out of a 3 to 5 point hole, and you got to find yourself winning at other positions because, quite frankly, Josh Allen is probably better than your quarterback.
And talking about preservation, I want to make a note here that Patrick Mahomes, so the person who had Josh Allen, who took him first overall, then went and took Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is all about preservation, which is why he's not a good fantasy quarterback. He doesn't have crazy rushing stats, doesn't get a ton of rushing touchdowns, and more importantly, I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to allow Mahomes to do a whole lot in the season. I think they're going to do as little as possible to win. And you've talked about this before, that the Chiefs did this last year. They did as little as possible to win. And then when they get to the playoffs, they go off. And unfortunately for fantasy football, going off in the playoffs has nothing to do with fantasy football playoffs, which fall within the regular season. So love Josh Allen as a pick. Love the first overall pick to Josh Allen. And to respond to you, I absolutely would have taken Josh Allen at 10th overall in our draft. Patrick Mahomes, I was not planning on taking at any point. I mean, unless it fell to like a super late round. But I really don't see any sort of upside with Patrick Mahomes in fantasy. But of course, gotta love Josh Allen. And I think that's going to do it for us. Appreciate everyone spending the time listening to our show. Really, really appreciate it. Of course, if you've made it this long and you haven't smashed that subscribe button or smashed that like button, please do so. And we're excited to see you all throughout the season. So NFL, baby, this is the QB Lab podcast. Thank you so much, and good luck in everyone's fantasy football this year.
Except yours, Jake. Take care.